Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of FSI DFS Fantasy NASCAR Picks. I'm your host, Mike 31. You can hear me, you can't see me. I am on location in Syracuse, New York, up visiting my family, staying at Airbnb, and I did the baseball video, okay, but my camera's not working for this one, so that's fine. But speaking of the baseball video, we had our 500th video for FSI for Major League Baseball, and to celebrate, we have a couple giveaways. Give away $50. We're going to give away a NFL season pass for DFS football and 1 month VIP. So if you're interested in any of those prizes, go to our channel and select the 500 MLB video for today. And actually, it's for Friday, 8/11. So if you're watching this after the fact, we'll give you until next Friday to enter. So just go into the comments, put your name in, and we will be drawing on the video for baseball next Friday, the winners. So I must be a subscriber to the channel. So if you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and do that. Other thing too, before we get started here is FSI DFS. If you go into the description of the video, you can go to our website. We're doing free preseason football. So if you want to get on that, that's awesome too. Lots of cool things going on today. EPL is back. It's 50th anniversary of hip hop also. So that's exciting. I was a huge fan back in the day and still am now. So let's get onto the trucks here. So this is a speculation video because we have another closed window for qualifying and practice. So qualifying should be over at 5 o'clock. The race starts at 9 o'clock. So there's like maybe a 3 to 4 hour window once we see who clears tech and everything to know what the lineups are going to be. So I did the speculation video here. I did the best I can to put things together for you, and I'll explain it as I go through to try to talk about drivers that might pop out to us. But if you want the exact content, then again, go to the description of the video, go to FSI DFS for the week, and it is only $5. It covers all 3 races. Xfinity will be speculation also because it's another tight window. Cup, we usually have the information before we start. So let's jump into this. So it is the playoffs, and had some questions from some viewers about playoffs. And here's how the playoffs work. So in Truck Series, we're in the playoffs right now. It's 10, and you have 3 races in this round of 10. And the races are going to be this one. It's going to be the Milwaukee Mile and the Kansas Speedway. After that, they're going to cut it down to 8. So then they run 3 more races at Bristol, Talladega, and Homestead. And from there, they'll cut it down to 4 and be the championship 4. So how the playoffs work in truck, and it works the same in Xfinity, although Xfinity opens up to more drivers. And how many does Xfinity have? Xfinity opens it up to 12, I believe. So their playoffs start in September. So we got a couple weeks before that. And then Cup starts their playoffs with 16, and they're going to start Labor Day. So they've got 3 more races before that. So what they'll do is they'll take the season standings, how many points that they've earned, and they'll add 2,000 to it. And from there, if you win, you automatically advance to the next round in one of the 3 cutoff races. So that's an automatic advancement. The rest of the drivers advance on points. So throughout the season, from winning races, from finishing position to stage points, they accumulated these points. Now, these points carry over from round to round. They do not reset. The only thing that is different is after this round of 10, when they go to the round of 8, then they give each driver 3,000 points. That allows the drivers that are still in the playoffs to be able to compete for all the final positions. So when you have 10 drivers in the playoffs, all the playoff drivers throughout all the rounds are going to end up ranked 1st through 10th. The more rounds they advance, the higher they're going to be. So the final 4 is obviously going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Nobody's going to be able to beat them. So in Cup Series, when they start with 16, everybody gets 2,000 points. When they go down to the round of 12, they add 3,000 points to their score. So they're above the guys that had the 2,000 points, and the 2,000 point guys are above the guys that are not in the playoffs. And then when they get into the round of 8, it goes up to 4,000 points in Cup. And when they get to the final 4, it's just at that final race at Phoenix, it's the final finishing position. There's nothing to do with points. There's no stage points or anything. It's the order they cross the finish line is the order that they finish 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we got playoffs out of the way. So the guys, the drivers in green are the ones that are currently in the playoffs. They got 3 races. Each one's going to try to win to advance to the next round. If you have drivers win, then good for them. It really just doesn't do anything. It just takes away the chance to have an automatic bid and makes points more important. So I don't think it's worthwhile breaking down the points right now. I think over the next couple of races, we'll look at that more. So let's dive in here. So how did we figure this out? So this track is going to have 200 laps. It is going to be probably about 2/3 a mile. I think it's like 0.668 or something. So similar to North Wilkesboro. So we've had some short tracks this season. So I took the data from when they ran at this track last year at IRP, and then North Wilkesboro, I took Martinsville, I took Richmond, and I also took Worldwide Technology for those of them people that didn't have like a Richmond one. So I kind of factored that in too. So I used all 4 of those tracks for the track average, and you can see what the ranks are. So that's their speed ranking. And then I looked at what their average starting position was on these types of tracks, and that's how we start at the starting position. So Corey Heim has looked dominant in everything here, looked great in Martinsville. Everything points to him should dominate this race. I think that he could potentially get the pole. If he doesn't, he should be a later dominator. I think the further on back he starts, the more upside he's going to have also, because he's going to place differential and the potential to get dominating points. So definitely going to be a prime play for me. Hocevar also has done well here, did really well at North Wilkesboro, and I think if Larson was in it, probably could have won the race. And really, again, a top 10 here. So I think he's going to be in cash. I think you're going to have to probably look at who's got the pole here and pick your first dominator among this group. And my guess is most of these guys should rise to the top. And you're probably going to have like 210, maybe 11K guys, although I'm going to say Majeski's a GPP. And then you're going to probably want to mix in some value. So it's probably going to be a stars and scrubs lineup, but that's probably what we're going to look for. We're going to look for place differential in the scrubs unless somebody screws up qualifying and is a playoff driver, and you know that they're going to cut through the field. And I think that's how the builds are going to end up being. So Hocevar and Smith, I think, are definitely cash plays based on, I know Smith struggled a little bit here last year, but overall, if you look at the rest of them, he ranks 3rd overall. But Jesse's a GPP just because I know he's won some races recently, but he just has, he usually qualifies good and he usually falls back. And I just don't trust him, and 11K is a lot to pay. Ben Rhodes, a lot of experience here also. I struggle a little bit North Wilkesboro, but again, 5th overall with all the composite scores. Grant Allenfinger, I'm giving the prime. Just after last year, nobody could touch him here. And again, maybe the truck isn't going to be set up as good as it was last year. And we saw that kind of in Cup in last week's race where Bubba Wallace was I think on the pole and like finished 2nd and like came back the next year, and like they tried the same setup and it just didn't work. And perhaps that might be the case, but it seemed like he really understood this track. His team really understood what they needed, and I think definitely going to be using Grant Emfinger after what I saw last year. He was like a men among boys, or an adult among children, because there are female drivers in here. So Eckes, I think, can be in cash also. He struggled at North Wilkesboro, wasn't great here, but at Martinsville and Richmond, which is the most recent one, looked good. So I think you can definitely consider him there. Shane Van Gisbergen, he is the one that won the Chicago street race. He got called to go in the Trackhouse car, the special developmental one, and won the race. The thing is we don't know. He seemed to be talented, but that race was just so screwed up with rain and with incidents and stuff. I don't think we have a true picture of him. So he's been a really good driver in other different series outside of NASCAR. So I think it'll translate, but can you drive a truck? And this 41 truck, we've seen Ross Chastain in it, and we've seen some other people in it. And it's a nice truck. It just really isn't sorry, I didn't realize that we had that closed. So let me open up so you can see. That's even worse. I apologize for that. What's going on here? So annoying. Let me just unhide all this. Way more than we need to do. Okay, so hide all stuff. I'm used to be on FanDuel during truck used to be on FanDuel during COVID, so that's still built in the spreadsheet. So anyways, back to Vengeance, where he's in a Nice truck here, and that's pop-ups too. Definitely, I think he's going to be super popular here based on it. 8,700 seems like a fair price tag. We'll just have to see how he does in practice and qualifying, because with that, it definitely will show you how he probably is going to fare here. Does he understand how to drive a truck? I mean, he translated well to the car, but the car is a little bit different. These trucks shift different than the sequential shifters that they have in the Cup car. So just have to keep an eye on him. But I think he's like the hottest commodity in all of NASCAR right now. So keep your eye on him. Stuart Friesen, I usually have him as GPP. I think I have cash. He did really well here last year, ran up in the top 5 most of the race and finished well. Even though he didn't make the playoffs, I think he still has a lot to prove, and I think he's the one that could win a race in the playoffs and play spoiler. Nicholas Sanchez, GPP did make the playoffs, but didn't run here last year, and really is like a 15th place driver. So it all depends on where he starts. If he has a pole or something, then maybe it looks really good in practice qualifying. I think I'd play him in cash, but I think he's going to be a GPP. Can't play everybody up here, and I think I'm going to be looking more at the Heim, Hosevar, Smith, and Finger if I'm paying up for somebody. William Sawalish ran has run really well at these types of tracks also. So he actually came back 4th in composite. So he's somebody to watch at 7,300. Might not fit your bill if you're going stars and scrubs. He might be a little bit priced in no man's land, but definitely a name to write down and keep track of. DiBenedetto and Crafton made the playoffs, but barely. They've struggled at some of these types of tracks, although Crafton did look decent at Richmond. So I am out on them as GPPs, but they are playoff drivers. If they do well in practice and qualifying, they might be a little bit cheaper, might have a different build than you. Logan Beard, he's only run a couple races, 22nd in Richmond. It all depends on where he practices and qualifies. He's super cheap, but he's in decent equipment here in the AIM and Racing one, which is the Tommy Joe Martin one. So I think he's in consideration for a cheap punt play. You just, again, if he's horrible in practice and qualifying, then don't play him, especially if it looks like there's any mechanical issues. But if he starts like 25th on down, I think he's a safe punt play. Tanner Gray, GPP, Chase Purdy, GPP, really racing for experience for next year. Decent trucks, decent program. Nothing really jumps off the page here. Lane Riggs, I'm going to give him a prime here. He's in a 7 Spire truck, but he finished in, after not running great last year, he actually finished in the top 10. So, and Richmond, he wasn't bad either. So 6,300, he's definitely somebody I'm going to keep my eye on. I'm going to give him the prime play just because of how good he looked here last year. So we'll see how that bodes. And my model has him 35 DK points at 5x value, which is good. Jake Garcia, GPP, nothing really pops again. Ankrum, I think you can play in cash. He looked really good here last year. Looked good in North Wilkesboro. If you throw out Martinsville, he's his numbers have been decent overall, probably at least top 15. So if he qualifies outside the top 15 and looks okay in practice, then I think he's a cash play. Dye is a GPP. I don't think he really has the speed, needs a little bit more seasoning before he's competitive on this level. Taylor Gray has really outshined his brother Tanner Gray recently, and I feel confident playing him here. Ran the race here last year. He's looked good. Like, it's not probably a top 15, but if he starts anywhere between 25 and 15, I think he's going to be a great play in cash. Kruth, and again, it didn't run here last year, rookie, ups and downs, more downs than ups, so GPP. Haley Deegan's always a GPP, just hasn't progressed the way we thought she would. We'll see if she's still in the ride next year. Colby Howard, GPP. Jack Woods, even a Kyle Busch truck. I mean, he's in the Kyle Busch truck, but I think he's still a GPP. Ran here last year, so he does have a little bit of experience. So we'll have to see. If he looks good in practice and qualifying, he might move to a cash play, but I think he's in a GPP. Chad Chastain really hasn't done anything this year, so he's a fade. Landon Lewis, Roper Racing, GPP to fade. Connor Jones, he's run some races here. He's North Wilkesboro, he was bad, but the other couple that were on short tracks, he hasn't been horrible. So I think, and it's a Thor Sports truck, so keep your eye on him. Jake Drew, my model really likes him because he's only ran really Richmond, but what he has run has been good. So that total is way overinflated. He's not going to have a 57. So probably a 27 is more like it. So where's that land him? That still lands at 4x, but I think he'll be a solid cash play. The Hattori truck is decent, and I think he's a promising young driver. I think he's an ARCA guy too. Lawless Allen, GPP. Brett Holmes, GPP. Again, like, the lower they start, probably the better. Matt Mills has a lot of experience in Xfinity. He lost his ride there. Now he's in Cup. His O2 truck's okay. Did well at Richmond. So, and after I wrote him off, so I'm not going to do that again. I think if you're looking for a punt cash play that has experience, then I think Matt Mills is definitely your guy there at 5K. Dean Thompson, GPP, he'll probably start down. Like, he's 31st place at 7,200. I can't do it. Spencer Boyd's a fade. Chris Hacker is another decent punt that you could probably use. One truck's not going to make it, and it's going to be Room or Greg Van Ault, either one of those two, I think, or Amari Williams. They're all fades for me. And then Tyler Hill is a GPP. Again, he's been a back marker this year. I thought he and his brother like share the truck, so I just don't think there's consistency there among the driver, but they're not a bad program, so it's another one to keep track of. But looking at punts, I'd prefer Matt Mills or some of the other ones that we talked about, Logan Bearden. So again, it's all going to come down to practice and qualifying, and on FSI DFS in our Discord, we'll have the true results and the update on all the where we're going with this once we see practice and qualifying. But it's going to be a tight window, so hopefully there's no weather. Hopefully it's a decent race. So, and hopefully this helped out. The Xfinity race is going to be, the video is going to be the same thing, so it's just going to be speculation on what we potentially think could happen for in this race based on previous history, and that's a road course. So I mean, we've had some decent Xfinity road courses recently, so should be able to see that. So appreciate you watching. Again, if you have any questions, put them in the chat below. Hit me up MegaRuler31 on Twitter. If these videos help, even though we don't have the information, we just try to do the research to try to find, if you don't have time in between practice and qualifying, to be able to try to have a good idea of where to start in such a limited window of guys to target, see how they practice, the ones that we talked about. Hopefully you wrote down some notes, and hopefully it worked out for you. So if these videos help you, again, like, subscribe to our channel, share with your friends, and good luck in your contest. Xfinity videos should be coming out tonight or tomorrow morning, and hope you have a great weekend, and I'll see you next time.